like Isaiah, who was known as the prophet of consolation, Jeremiah is known as the weeping prophet, the prophet of a broken heart. He lived at a very, very difficult time in Israel's history, a time when Israel's leadership had totally forsaken the God of their forefathers. The people were steeped in paganism and in idol worship. And it was a time when God's severe judgment would fall on the nation of Israel, actually during Jeremiah's lifetime. So in order to fulfill the mandate that God had on Jeremiah's life, he must have had an amazing relationship with the Lord, don't you think? And I believe in chapter 12, we get a glimpse of that amazing relationship. Jeremiah says, "Righteous are you, O Lord, when I plead with you. You let me talk with you about your judgments." What an amazing statement. Obviously, Jeremiah was so confident in his relationship with the Lord that he was altogether comfortable bringing his concerns, pleading with God, even challenging God's judgments. And as we read on in chapter 12, we discover that Jeremiah has a judgment that he wants to challenge. He's got an issue that's pretty important to him. He says, "These people, God, these people that, by the way, you planted, are now evil, and they're bearing fruit, and they have threatened my life, and they have forbidden me to prophesy in your name, and you have promised that you would punish them, and yet no punishment has come." And then he pleads with God. "God, you know me," he says. "You have tested my heart. You know how faithful I am to you. How long are you going to allow this to go on?" And God answers Jeremiah in a very Hebraic way. He answers his question with a question. "Jeremiah," he says, "if you have run with the footmen and they have wearied you, how will you contend with the horses?" In other words, he's acknowledging that Jeremiah has had some difficulties. He's saying, yes, you have run with the footmen. You have been persecuted. They have threatened your life. They have forbidden you to prophesy. But if those things, Jeremiah, cause you to be discouraged, if they cause you to cry out to me in despair, what will happen when you have to contend with the horses? What will happen when you have to deal with kings, the king of Judah, the king of Babylon? What will happen when war comes, when exile comes? What then, Jeremiah? Now, I don't believe that God was rebuking Jeremiah. I believe that God was actually encouraging him. First of all, he was saying, "Jeremiah, back up. Get a little bit of perspective. Because in the overall scheme of things, your situation could be a whole lot worse." But he's also encouraging Jeremiah to trust him, to really trust him, to really believe in his faithfulness. God has said he will punish his enemies. God has said he will carry Jeremiah through all of this. And Jeremiah needs to stop comparing himself to those around him and trust in God's faithfulness. How often we are like Jeremiah. We look out, we see the wicked, we see those that don't love God, those that are even scornful of God, and they seem to be doing pretty well. They're prospering, they're happy, they're even wealthy. And then we look at our own circumstances and we think we're not nearly as well off as they are. We seem to have to deal with issues that the wicked never have to deal with. And we say, "God, we love you. We have been faithful to you. How long will you allow this to continue?" And God would encourage us in the very same way he encouraged Jeremiah. First of all, however, I believe God would have us be grateful for our challenges, no matter what they are. Because when you run with the footmen, that's how you learn to contend with the horses. But also, God would have us back up and get some perspective. No matter what we're dealing with, it probably could be worse. And finally, God would have us instead of comparing ourselves to others, as Jeremiah, he would have us recognize his faithfulness. Truly, truly believe and trust in his faithfulness and understand that our lives, our times, our circumstances, even when they don't seem like it, are right in the center of his incredible, merciful, gracious, loving, powerful hands. And as faithful as he was to Jeremiah, so will he be to us.